y'all, it's my review for The Real Housewives of New York, Season 14, Episode 4. This will be an express review because I have to leave for my flight to Vegas in 2 hours. So let's just see how fast I can get this through. It was an okay episode, but you know, for the interest of time and so I can just keep a good YouTube schedule. So we're still at the Hamptons. The ladies are all waking up. We see Erin, and Brynn talking downstairs, and Erin is just still not worried about feeding her guests. I think she can compete with Kenya for the worst host in Housewives history on her first season. Like, why didn't she just get a private chef if she didn't feel like cooking for these women? I've been hearing that size be getting on a lot of people's nerves, but I still don't mind her because I would be her in this situation. Like, I probably went to bed hungry that night. I probably had like a snack or something, so I want some breakfast. But like I said on Pop Roast, my mom told me to never put my stomach in nobody's hands. I would have been called Uber Eats or DoorDash in the Hamptons. I don't care if anybody else didn't eat yet. I need to eat or else you're gonna get the worst of my attitude.
Making this sugar thing? Do you need any help?
You can cut the tomatoes if you want.
I love how there's like $500,000 worth of diamond jewelry at the kitchen counter.
Miss Jenna Lyons comes downstairs to help the ladies because Erin finally started to cook her shakshuka, and Brynn notices that Jenna has about $500,000 on her wrist as she's washing tomatoes. We cut to Jenna's confession and she's saying, you ever heard of Breakfast at Tiffany's? I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. If anybody got that reference, please share it with me in the comments. So our ladies are downstairs, and as Erin is making her shakshuka, we find out from Ubah that not only is she a model, she's a businesswoman too, and she has her own hot sauce. Okay, you better push that business on this platform. I'm sure Bravo gets a cut of that, but it is what it is. So I'm looking at this shakshuka, and it looks good, but y'all know I'm picky as hell. Eggs and tomato sauce? No. Again, Uber Eats or DoorDash. Size me. We cut to her confession. She's like, what the fuck is shakshuka? She does not look pleased with that look on her face. But at least, you know, she ate it. Me? I don't know. I probably would have maybe slid under the table, put it in a napkin or something. The topic of conversation amongst the ladies is what are they all doing for Thanksgiving? Everyone's sharing what they're doing. And Brynn is like, well, I don't really have a family like that to go to, so it's just gonna be me. And already we know that this is gonna be a Brynn-heavy episode. I mean, it's even in the title, the most Brynn-interesting girl in the room. We also find out about Brynn that she's had 3 ex-fiancés. Now, she says she feels she's still winning because she's still never been divorced, but yeah, I mean, hey, one of my good friends, she's been engaged twice. And this will be her 3rd engagement if, you know, she proposes to her partner. But we'll see. Like, that's why I have no judgments against this. Like, relationships are fickle. Dating is fickle. Life is fickle. But anyway, Brynn says she might visit her 3rd ex-fiancé for the holiday because they're still cordial. So then after breakfast, it looked like it's time to leave back to the city of Manhattan. Erin is glad that the whole thing is over. We cut to Jessel's confession. She's like, I'm so glad to get the fuck out of here. I mean, I think overwhelmingly amongst the ladies, Erin did a bad job hosting them in the Hamptons. I don't think we'll be going back to her house or letting her host anything. Damn, like, as a new housewife, could you imagine watching this back and seeing how people really felt about staying with you as you were the host? Damn, I would feel some type of way. We cut to Jenna's confession. She's like, you know, 1 to 10, I give it a 5. Letter grade, a C. And the jabs to Erin just continue. Like, Sai about to leave, she's like, Erin, this was nice. You didn't feed me that much, but, you know, it was okay. If I was Erin, I'd be like, bitch, get the fuck out of my house. And Sai don't stop. Even as she's getting into her car, she asks the driver to stop at Provisions before they get on the road. While Erin can clearly hear her saying that. So next scene, we're back in New York. We're with Erin on her day job. I think she's setting up a unit or whatever, letting the construction guys know what to do. We see that she's able to speak Spanish. I mean, at least she's not like Yolanda, like how she was, well, y'all remember that, right? My Beverly Hills people, how she was talking to those workers with her privileged ass. Anyway, At least she seems kind to them. We get a background on Erin's real estate career, and clearly, she has some doors open for her because her parents were very successful in the real estate industry. Wow, this young photo of Erin. I mean, she really do be trying to fool people with that blonde hair. Like, in this young picture, she has like just full brunette, and you can tell, like, you can see some ethnicity on her face. That's what I'm trying to say. In the best PC way for my YouTube not to get struck. We also get a fun fact that she was connected to the Bravo universe before Housewives, when her and Frederick, that uppity gay guy on $1 Million List in New York, she worked at the same firm as him. Not Erin having a business called Homegirl. We're gonna move on. So next scene we're with Brynn as she's going to the hairdresser. She's talking to her black hairstylist about her hair texture, and this is when we hear the story of how, she was growing up biracial. Her mom was white, of course, and her dad was black. She's definitely white passing here, and she says she grew up, with the hair texture. Her grandmother raised her, a white woman, and didn't know what to do with her hair. So she was teased a lot. We see what she looked like in the early days. It looks like she had more so like a Mariah Carey upbringing without the talent. No shade, Brynn. But if you read Mariah's book, you'll know that she had a rough time growing up, especially being biracial. But later on in her story, she does say that she found community at a black hair salon where they were getting her right, and where she would, get a feel of black culture because she didn't feel connected to it. Which, a lot of biracial people that I know have a hard time doing that. I thought this segment with Brynn was excellent. Like, we're getting this on Housewives of New York. Housewives of New York, this type of story. So, look, it made her much more endearing to me than episode 1. So next scene, we're at Ubah's apartment where she's being visited by her friend/business consultant. This is definitely like a foundation episode where we're just getting to know the ladies more. So she's talking to her mentor about how she's trying to make her business, Ubah, grow more. But the problem with getting investors, they want to change your product, tell you what to do, and she wants full control. But as any business person knows, it just doesn't work like that, especially when you get investors in on it. So she's asking for advice on that. And then she's talking about like just where this all stems from with her worrying about this. So then Ubah talks about usually having community where she's from. But her mentor is like, well, you're in New York now and you don't have that same community. Which then Ubah hearing that makes her emotional because she immediately thinks of her mom. She misses her. She passed in, I believe she said 2012. And she says she just feels alone sometimes. But her mentor continues to big her up and says, you can do this. You have 6 months to decide where you want your business to go. And Ubah feels like she'll be able to go for it. Side note, can we just take a moment to acknowledge how different this reboot is? Like, it really is different. Like, I get what Andy was saying now, like watching the episodes. It's not like, old turtle time and good old-fashioned microaggressions. Like, it's just actual women's stories in New York. So next scene we're with Sai and her husband, and she was talking to him about hearing Brynn's story and how she just felt bad for her because she didn't really have family to visit on Thanksgiving. And she says she sees a lot of herself in Brynn a long time ago. So she wants to have a Friendsgiving and call it Brynnsgiving. So she calls her on FaceTime and they're talking about that idea, and then they get to the gossip. They start talking about the Hamptons and how Jessel was complaining. Now, Sai, I like you, but you were complaining just as much as Jessel. Damn. So I learned a lot about Jessel. I learned that her vagina's on a drought. She even brings her husband in the conversation. At least the husband is kind and has empathy towards Jessel. He's like, the woman just had twins. Like, I'm sure her life changed. The twins are so bad, she didn't even know if she coming or going. So she probably ain't got time for sex. Ooh, I bet Jessel regret disclosing that information to them. So speaking of Jessel, next scene we're with her and her husband, and they're just talking about what preschool they want to enroll their kids into. Now, I heard in New York that, the schools for the kids are very important. God forbid you put them in public school. So yeah, she wants them in the most bougie preschool possible. Her husband's trying to save money, and we're basically paying a fortune just so they can water plants, take naps, and eat. For real, they're what, 3 or 4 in preschool? They're then talking about her experience in the Hamptons, and she said that she was the sacrificial lamb on the trip. I think she really is not that self-aware on how she talks to people. And her husband actually lets her know that too. And he's like, oh, you're calling me a bitch? Well, he said everything but that, but I'm glad you caught on. Her husband seemed like he just used to being talked to any kind of way. And he's like, well, yeah, the way you talk all the time. I don't know why she acting like this is the first time she's heard this. Meanwhile, in between this scene, we check in on Erin, and Jenna's coming over to visit. Just seeing how Erin acts around Jenna Lyons, it seems like she's constantly trying to impress her. Have y'all noticed that? Also, that's nice of Jenna. She gave Erin a little gift for hosting them. Just a $1,000 cashmere sweater, no big deal. So we see in the flashback when Jenna was buying the cashmere sweater, she was with Jessel, and they had their one-on-one conversation. Jessel was apologizing to Jenna. And then I'm guessing she was talking about Sai and Erin to her. We then cut back to Jenna and Erin, and she brings that bone to her. Now, I didn't really see Jenna Lyons as a bone carrier, but I'll allow it. She told Erin that Jessel called her and Sai cackling hags, and Erin is not pleased. I'm kind of confused like Jenna too. Where did she get hags from? We see in the flashback that she got the cackling from Jenna, but hags? None of these women read old except for Jenna, no shade. Jenna and Erin are now discussing where does Jessel get this personality from? They're just trying to figure out why does she talk to people like this. Clearly she had a spoiled upbringing. Erin tells Jenna that Jessel basically needs to get fucked. That's the problem. Shit. We cut back to Jessel and her husband talking. I'm kind of glad that she brought up that she talked about their sex life to the other ladies. And surprisingly, her husband's just like, man, it's the married with kids tax. I don't know. He seemed a little bit too comfortable with not having any sex. He might be cheating on you, girl. He seemed way too calm and unconcerned. So next scene is the day of Sai's Friendsgiving. I love what she's wearing. Sai looks very nice. And I'm pretty sure if she's hosting, she's going to make sure everyone is fed. So Brynn is the first to arrive, and Sai introduces her to the very good-looking private chef for the evening. And Brynn, she turns it on immediately. And then Sai's like, he's married. She's like, oh, okay, never mind. I love this dress, Brynn, with the whole back out. Look, she is on the prowl. Side note, is it just me, or does Brynn look like the singer Cassie? Just a little bit. So most of the ladies are arriving. And can I just say a little pet peeve of mine? When I go to people's places and they ask you to take off your shoes, I think it's just so annoying. You come in my place, I don't give a shit. Keep your shoes on. I get it, we live in New York or whatever, things pick up on your feet, but I don't know, I just don't care like that. I'm sure I'm on an island by myself on this. I'm sorry, it's just silly to me because sometimes I don't feel like taking off my shoes. So Jessel arrives and we see Erin recoil a bit when she sees her. They have a little awkward moment when she's saying she just visited her grandmother's memorial, and Jessel's like, well, I'm sorry, I didn't know, but I hope you still had a good time. And that's how she ended the conversation. So she goes upstairs. Jenna, Ubah, Brynn, and Erin, they're all talking amongst themselves, and she's telling them that Jessel called her a hag to Jenna. I think I would have preferred Jessel to say cackling bitches, because hags? You calling them old and disheveled? Not all 3 of them trying to explain what cackling means to Ubah. Now, the way Erin's talking about Jessel's comment to the other ladies, I remember she telling Jenna that she wasn't going to tell anybody about it. And the first thing she does when Jessel leaves the room is say something. So then we cut to Jenna's confessional, and she's like, well, I didn't mean to tell Erin that. It wasn't my intention to stir the pot. Sure, Jan. So ladies all sit at the table, getting ready to eat. The focus is on Brynn because, it's a Friendsgiving as well as a celebration for her. And they're just asking her about the holidays and, just her history with it. And then she gets immediately emotional because I'm guessing something traumatic is attached to it. We cut to her confessional and she breaks down as the producer's asking her like what's going on, what happened. She doesn't even want to talk about it. She says that her mom had her when she was a teenager, along with her brother and her sister. I wonder if we're going to see her brother and sister on here. But it seems like her dad was much older. She tells production that she doesn't want to say exactly what happened. She just wants to say how it made her feel. We come back to her talking to the ladies, and she says she grew up poor as fuck, welfare, Section 8 housing, and then she's saying that her parents really weren't there for her. And she gets into talking more about it, but then the credits are rolling. Everyone is just like into this story. It's a very serious tone, and they leave us there. Like, it's to be continued. So yeah, hopefully we'll find out, what happened. What was this traumatic event? So that's the end of the episode, and I enjoyed it. It was deep stories, and look, people watch Housewives for different reasons. Again, I can't wait to see what the ratings look like compared to last week. They may keep going down, but the thing is, I thought that the placement of this franchise was a terrible idea. If it didn't work for Salt Lake City going after, I think it was Potomac at the time, it wasn't working. And then when they moved it to during the week where it had its own spot, then we saw the show do better. So I hope eventually, maybe before the mid-season trailer, that they move it to like Tuesday or Wednesday nights or something. Hell, I think they can even move it to a Monday night. It'll do better. But yeah, next week's episode, we see the drama turn up just a bit. Some friction between the ladies. I'll be tuned in, definitely. I'm enjoying this season so far, like I said. Y'all let me know in the comments what y'all think. With that, I'm about to go catch my flight. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all for the next episode. Bye.